Rob Carson Show. Are you ready to be podsmacked? Now, here's Rob Carson.
Here is the show, and welcome to it. Glad to have you with me tonight, guys. Much to get to as the show progresses, but nice to have you here. We've been adding video to the podcast every single day, and hoping you're enjoying some of it. I've got some cooking videos. I've got some just comedy and commentary videos every single day. Try to add things new all of the time, and if you want to comment and share, it would be greatly appreciated. Hi. Welcome to it. So, did you watch college basketball over the weekend? Kind of fun. I know many of you don't listen in the States. You listen outside of the States. So not, as big a deal to you. But, I was pretty excited because KU, which is where my son is going to go to school in the fall, won a basketball game. So that was kind of cool. And they're going on to the Final Four. I'm not even sure who the other teams are. Villanova, Kansas, Loyola. There's one other. Anyway, glad to have you guys here with me on the show. So a lot of stuff happened over the weekend. We'll get to some lighter stuff, some heavier stuff, whatever. We'll get into it in just a couple of minutes here. But one of the things that got a lot of press was Stormy Daniels, a porn star who apparently had sex with Donald Trump 12 years ago, and I didn't watch the interview in real time because even though I don't have a lot to do with my life, in my life, I should say, I wasn't going to watch it. Who really cares? I mean, he's a billionaire playboy in Washington, or in New York. We kind of already know kind of person he is. He had sex with her. It was 12 years ago. It was before he married Melania, I guess. But anyway, I just thought it was kind of funny. Think about this. This is pretty funny. You got the President of the United States. The press is going after the President of the United States, who's a billionaire playboy from New York. And he apparently had sex with a... I was going to say prostitute. It's different with a porn star. Isn't it interesting? With a porn star, you think about this. Prostitution's illegal most of the United States, with the exception of Nevada, a couple of alcoves there. But prostitution is selling the act of sex with someone, a sexual performance with someone for money. But because you have a camera or two in front of you, and you've got some microphones, and you've got some, the audio running and the whole deal, and you've got some credits at the beginning and some credits at the end, you can bang the snot out of anybody and get paid as an actor. That's what they ought to do. They ought to just tell if John's come in and put on a mask so you're not recognized, but you're going to be on camera. And you're going to pay the actress or actor, whatever you're into, you're going to pay them a certain amount of money, but it's legal because you're acting. It's not because you're paying for sex. It's just so stupid. The whole prostitution thing is so stupid, and that's why I could get into the human trafficking thing and the whole deal, but I'm not going to do that. Not going to do it. But Anderson Cooper had an interview with her. Apparently, she claimed the affair took place while Trump was hosting Celebrity Apprentice in 2006. She said she was unprotected sex with him. Who cares? Oh, yeah, and I got some video. I want to play her the video of her because Stormy's going to be talking here. But apparently she was not attracted to him, which to me is real troubling. Here's Stormy Daniels. Let me see if we can play this real quick here. Go ahead and start this over again. Stormy Daniels.
And you had sex with him?
Yes.
You were 27, he was 60. Were you physically attracted to him?
No.
Not at all?
No.
Did you want to have sex with him?
No. But I didn't say no. I'm not a victim. I'm
just kind of worried about her. I don't know what's going on in her emotional wheelhouse. Couldn't she just, I don't have a vagina. But couldn't she have just said, yeah, not interested there, buddy? Here's the difference. Here's what is different about her. She recognized a payday. That's what this is all about. She was willing to say, okay, let's just have sex, unprotected. I want a payday. That's what this is about. And this is, I think, kind of sad and pathetic, to be quite honest. Really sad and pathetic. She's admitting, not interested, not attracted. I'm just going to let my body be used by you because I want a payday. That's what it's about.
It was entirely consensual.
Oh, yes. Yes. I was in a parking lot going to...
Oh, now this is... the sex wasn't in the parking lot. She's talking about sometime later that she had her infant daughter with her, and she is claiming that someone from the Trump organization, or I should say implying that somebody from the Trump organization actually threatened her if she opened her mouth. Okay, so if she opened her mouth about the sleeping with, or at least having sex with Donald Trump. Now, listen to the vagueness of this. First of all, I already got a woman whose credibility is terribly compromised because she signed two confidentiality agreements. Was not supposed to say anything about this, apparently. I think we have established that she probably had sex with him. Right. Okay. But then she decided to throw this out like Donald Trump is some sort of mafioso who is saying that keep your mouth shut for the first time in your life or you could get hurt.
A fitness class with my infant daughter. I was taking, the seats facing backwards in the back seat, diaper bag, getting all the stuff out. And a guy walked up on me. And
you think, you got a daughter. Could you find something more to do with your life than banging men, women, everything, sheep? I don't even know, on film. Honestly, we moved beyond that. You can do anything for a living as a parent, and it's cool. And this woman is messed. All right, she's messed. All right, a little more.
And said to me, "Leave Trump alone. Forget the story." And then he leaned around and looked at my daughter and said, "A beautiful little girl. It'd be a shame if something happened to her mom." And then he was gone.
You took it as a direct threat.
Absolutely. I was rattled. I remember going into the workout class and my hands were...
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. What day was it? What day was it? Give me the exact date and time. Give me the exact date and time. Where were you working out? What time did you go in? Okay, what did it happen? Can we look at some surveillance cameras maybe there?
Shaking so much, I was afraid I was going to drop her.
Did you ever see that person again?
No. But if I did, I would know it right away. I'll never...
Somebody associated with the Trump organization should maybe be able to find them.
Well, you'd be able to recognize that person.
100%. Even now, all these years later. If he walked in the store right now, I would instantly know.
Did you go to the police?
No.
Why?
Because I was scared.
I think some people watching this are going to doubt that you entered into this negotiation because you feared for your safety. They're going to think that you saw an opportunity.
Duh!
I think the fact that I didn't even negotiate, I just quickly said yes to this very, strict contract and what...
Yeah. $130,000. $130,000. Now, apparently she was offered, she was going to tell her story in In Touch magazine. In Touch, that's so funny. In 2011 for $15,000. The story did not run because Trump's attorney threatened to sue. Daniels says that around this time, some guy walked up to her and told her, that you're threatening or whatever. So she was offered an interview in In Touch magazine. But then Trump's attorney, Michael Cohen, claims he paid Daniels $130,000 to sign a non-disclosure agreement, an NDA. So what's better, In Touch magazine or $130K? And I got to tell you, girls, Stormy Daniels, you're not $1 million girl. There's some maybe you, I don't know who you're having sex with. I don't even know the famous person that Trump would say, I'll pay you $1 million if you just shut up. But Stormy Daniels, which is a terrible, terrible porn name. It's just bad. It sounds like a music jock in Poughkeepsie who does middays at 99 The Frog. Stormy Daniels, everybody. More classic hits on the way. Stick around for that. Could you come up with something better? Like, I don't even know what do I say? But couldn't you come up with a better porn name than Stormy Daniels? The whole thing, guys, honestly. And I saw this piece today. I think this was in Breitbart talking about how this is this giant. Yeah, I don't know if you know this. You millennials won't remember. In 1986, Geraldo Rivera hosted a live 2-hour special surrounding the opening of a vault owned by Al Capone. And they made the mistake of waiting 2 hours to building it up and find out there was nothing but dirt, empty bottles. And it was an embarrassment. It was a cluster F for Geraldo Rivera. And he's never lived it down. He was able to boot and rally and come back and all that stuff. But here is Stormy Daniels. I'm sorry, it's so funny. In Touch magazine is going to give her $15,000 in 2011 for saying that she slept with Donald Trump. And this is, guys, it's 12 years later. So anyway, 6 years after she slept with the Donald, took the money from Donald's attorney, signed a non-disclosure agreement, broke the non-disclosure agreement, said she had consensual sex. So this is he said, she said stuff, guys. And even if it is, because you're signing a non-disclosure agreement, which she broke, and she could be liable for millions and millions of dollars. Really stupid thing to do. She obviously wants her, 15 minutes of fame or whatever. But just not good form. Not good form. And it's very clear, and the thing that's interesting about this is it's very clear that the reason why she slept with Donald Trump was not because she was attracted to him, not because she wanted to do it, but because she wanted to bang a celebrity. She wanted to have sex with Donald Trump she's on The Apprentice and everything. Wanted to do all of that stuff. And sold her soul essentially for it, guys. Sold her soul for it. I think it's kind of sad and pathetic that you do this for $130,000. We do live in a country where, and this started a while back, but some women, just celebrity women, had able to use the power of, their feminine virtues and essentially give up everything to them, and to use. Remember what was her name? Anna Nicole Smith. Remember Anna Nicole Smith? Married the 90-year-old billionaire. I'm not sure if they had sex, but here's a woman who, she's a model and everything and all that, but she's a troubled individual, and she saw this, decided to use the power of the P word and go after this guy. Unfortunately for her, his lawyers knew what was happening, and drew up a massive prenup, and she didn't get much out of it. This woman is a blackmailer. Stormy Daniels is a blackmailer. That's what she's there for. That's what she exists for. She looked for an opportunity to use her buxom good looks and her stature as a porn star to go after a guy who, and Donald Trump, scumbag. I like his political ideology and his what he's doing for the country, but, he's just looking for a piece of ass, right? Stormy Daniels saw that, zoomed in on it, said, "Ooh, I can make some money on this." 6 years later, Trump's attorney, after the possibility of an InStyle magazine. Oh, In Touch. It's not InStyle. My wife gets InStyle. But In Touch magazine decides that, she's going to sell the story for $18,000 or $15,000, what the hell it was. And Donald Trump's attorney said, "No, we'll give you $130,000. She was waiting for a payday. It wasn't the payday that she wanted. No. And apparently, the $130,000 was not enough for her. And I believe, honestly, there were other people behind this. I would not doubt at all Hillary Clinton. Barack Obama's Organizing for America. Hillary Clinton was actively looking for women who had encounters with Donald Trump. This was a late moving story. Stormy Daniels, it took some time to develop and to massage the story. And ultimately, a year into the Trump presidency, Stormy Daniels decides to come out. She's being paid by somebody. She's being told that, don't worry if Trump sues you. I don't doubt this at all. Don't worry if Trump comes after you, we'll take care of you. But I want you to break that confidentiality agreement. I want you to break it. I don't doubt that, and I'll be proven right. That's the way it is. I will be proven right about this. I'm always proven right about this. That's what happened. They went on a fishing expedition. They found someone who was finally able to speak. Even though Stormy Daniels had a confidentiality agreement, she spoke up. She realized that $130,000 is not going to last her the rest of her life. Maybe I can make a few million more. And the DNC, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama's Organizing for America, all came forward because they were looking for somebody like this. This is what they got. I'll bet you $1 million. I'll bet you $1 million. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. Did you watch the March for Our Lives? This is a group of people who got together pushing some children who survived a mass shooting at a school in Florida in front of them for a political ideology. That's what it's about. This is not a fresh movement. This is not a fresh movement that says, we are going to gather around these 17-year-old children or 15-year-olds or whatever that were killed at this school in Florida. This is not about creating a movement, calling congressmen, calling whoever, saying, we need the National Mall on the 14th or on the 25th. The 24th, we need the National Mall. Can we? And also, we need a stage, we need a platform, we need all this stuff. No, these were people who already had done the Women's March in Washington, D.C. Two of them, actually. These are people who had already been actively involved in creating disruptive protests. Started with Occupy. A few years, like 5 years ago, remember Occupy? I was there for that. I was in Washington, D.C. It was a stinky little anti-capitalist, radical leftist protest. And I was downtown when it happened, and they had set up an encampment, a bunch of hippy-dippy dopes. They actually had rape tents set up inside of these encampments. But there were needles, there were drugs, you could smell pot smoke in the morning, the whole deal. And it was basically a bunch of astroturf socialists, no jobbers being bussed in to just, this is what they do. That's what happened. Then we moved on to Black Lives Matter, which was hijacked. I mean, a misguided movement from the get-go, by the way. Misguided movement from the get-go. Okay? Michael Brown, what he did, sorry, thug, robber, shot, bang, you don't charge a police officer. You don't try to disarm a police officer, the whole deal. But there were some people who were able to move in immediately and claim some sort of injustice, and then it was hijacked by radical leftist, socialist, communists, this whole movement, and it moved on from there, and it progressed from there. Call me a conspiracy theorist. A lot of this is a Soros-based crap, guys. There are active, and you always want to go after the Koch brothers. The Koch brothers, they're so evil. No, they're not really, no. Koch brothers, they don't do massive protests. There are a lot of leftists who are willing to pour millions of dollars into a movement to attack democracy and the Constitution of this country. Koch brothers fund a lot of PACs, sure. But they don't do these marches. And the marches have been growing, and I was in D.C. when Donald Trump was elected, and I saw the AstroTurf protests on the day that he was elected. Then I saw the AstroTurf protest of the Women's March, which was not a women's march because it excluded so many people who were not a part of the women's movement. It excluded people who were pro-life, and it included a lot of very scary, bad actors. With regard to these kids who were being used over the weekend, and by the way, they expected 850,000 or said they got 200,000. Hundreds of cities around the country took part in it, blah, blah, blah. A Delaware-based Department of Consumer and Regulatory Affairs said that this organization, that Lives Action Fund, was registered on a week after the mass shooting in Florida. So on February 21st, it was registered. This is not kids. These are not 17-year-olds who are just getting over their grief and burying their friends and going to memorial services. This is groups of people stepping in and going, aha, this is a great opportunity to go after the Second Amendment. Apparently, this group was based in Encino, California. The agent for the fund, listed as CT Corporation System, DC-based firm that handles compliance issues, Jerry Rhodes, listed as the executing officer for the filing. This gets confusing. Rhodes, an associate executive secretary for finance and administration for the Friends Committee on National Legislation, Quaker lobbying group with the goal to advance peace and justice, blah, 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 blah. She's a career leftist, okay? She's been involved with MoveOn.org. She's been involved with Greenpeace, all of these things, the Women's March LA, among other things. And I told you this. Oh, hello, Crazy Radio. What's going on, my brother? Planned Parenthood, George Soros, MoveOn.org involved in this. Spokesman for Planned Parenthood, spokesperson, said it is teaching and hosting trainings for teens to keep momentum going so they don't get burned out with regard to the school shootings. The organization persons in charge of the D.C. event included Deanna Katz, co-executive producer of Dancing with the Stars, who helped organize the Los Angeles Women's March. I mentioned that. March for Lives also started a GoFundMe page that has raised $3.3 million. Nonetheless, the Florida students who are credited with organizing the march insisted it's not teens, or not adults, but teens who are in charge, while admitting teens are involved. Yeah, 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds don't get liability insurance for their marches. $2 million per person for any one claim, and an aggregate limit of $5 million for any number of claims arising from any incident. So all of this stuff came together. This march, the stagecraft, the insurance, and everything covered, the booking of the National Mall. All of this came in earth-shattering speed. Think about that. How does a grassroots movement start? Norma Jean. I don't know. I don't remember the movie. I was an infant. But how does a grassroots movement start? Does it just start, and does it develop literally in a month where you've got millions of people around the country who are being bussed in, who are paying for stagecraft, who have celebrities behind them and the whole deal, unless the infrastructure is already there? And I used this example before. Unless the left's ammo clip is already locked and loaded and ready to go when something like this happens. And I think it's a good analogy, actually. When the left's ammo clip is locked and loaded and they know that they can use this to their advantage. Here's a little bit of David Hogg. He's a kid who has been, and I mentioned this earlier on my show on Liberty One TV. Here is a kid who is being used, like some of the other kids who are decided to speak out anti-gun stuff from this school. Here's a little bit of David Hogg's speech at this massive meeting. I want you to listen to him because he is a child, okay? This is a kid who a week ago was, homecoming's already over, but maybe he's hoping to be valedictorian. And he delivered a speech at this March for Our Lives that sounded like a kid who's been fed talking points and believes that somehow he is going to start a revolution. Even though this isn't based on David Hogg. This is based on a bunch of people who saw, David Hogg is pretty articulate. Let's use him. Here's a little bit of David Hogg's speech this weekend.
96 people die every day from guns in our country, yet most representatives have no public stance on...
Okay, here's a little bit from the beginning.
For every student's life in Florida, $1.05. Okay. The cold grasp of corruption shackles the District of Columbia.
Now, I want you to listen to this because it sounds like a lot of class valedictorian speech here.
The winter is over. Change is here. The sun shines on a new day, and the day is ours. For the first-time voters show up 18% of the time at midterm.
And the day is ours. Listen to that. This sounds like a high school graduation speech. And kids, they always bloviate about how we're the new generation and we're going to change. Listen to this.
The cold grasp of corruption shackles the District of Columbia. The winter is over. Change is here. The sun shines on a new day, and the day is ours.
And the day is ours, okay? This kid, a week ago, a month ago, was he wearing a suit like that? You suppose somebody bought him that suit? you suppose somebody is using that kid? Here's a little bit of David Hogg, not being so polite, actually. Here he is talking about a little bit kind of obscene David Hogg.
One of the people leading this conversation is a 17-year-old.
Back this up here real
Pathetic
quick.
fuckers that want to keep killing our
Here
children.
we go.
They could have blood from children spattered all over their faces, and they wouldn't take action.
Okay. Who are you talking about, David Hogg? I think the only people who are unaffected by blood spattered on their faces of infants are abortion doctors. I could be wrong. Kermit Gosling.
They're pathetic fuckers that want to keep killing our children. They could have blood from children spattered all over their faces, and they wouldn't take action.
Okay, that's extraordinarily inflammatory and extraordinarily ignorant. And extraordinarily ignorant. You are a child. You are a child. You still get a SpongeBob bandage at the dentist. How dare you punk-ass mother effer, go after adults who've been around on the planet a lot longer than you have, even though you were getting your ass wiped 15 years ago by your mommy and daddy.
They'll still see those dollar signs.
What is that supposed to mean? It's a vagary. It's a typical ignorant liberal statement. The only person who is responsible for the shooting was the kid who did the shooting. Honestly, I had a lot of time to think about this over the weekend, and this is the most disgusting display I've ever seen, where people could rush in so quickly to tragedy and use it for political gain, not only in Washington, D.C., but around the country and around the world. It's very clear that the left is on the march, and they will use any incident to go after the Constitution, the United States of America, freedom, all of these things. It should be very, 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 very painfully obvious to you. Very painfully obvious to you. And it's also, by the way, it is a movement that only exists on the left. There are other people who legitimately would like to see things happen that make children safer. Did you hear anything